Good evening, everyone. This is Sunday, May 5th, 2019, 9:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Mr. WCWUS Chad Henshaw of the WCWUS Stabler Groups on Facebook and, of course, the WCWUS Radio Network on TalkShoe.com. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, happy Cinco de Mayo out there, ladies and gentlemen. And by all means, if you're out celebrating here tonight and if you actually get a little bit too tipsy, drinking a little bit of the everything from beer to wine to tequila, whatever, by all means, get a designated driver. Let somebody else drive for you. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, here tonight we are going to be once again bringing you our lineup of all of our shows here for the coming week of May 6th through the 11th, 2019, here in the radio network on TalkShoe.com. We are also going to be bringing you, of course, the wrestling history, birthdays, and some wrestling news tidbits for today, May the 5th. So let's go ahead and get right underway here, folks. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are, of course, your wrestling and pop culture connection, the WCWUS Radio Network. Let's go ahead and get started with our wrestling history and birthdays here for May the 5th. 114 years ago today, which would put it at 1905 in New York City, George Hackenschmidt, the World Greco-Roman Wrestling Champion, defeated Tom Jenkins, American Heavyweight Champion, 2-0 in a best-of-three falls match to become the World Catch-as-Catch-Can Heavyweight Champion. This is the origin of the first recognized World Wrestling Championship in the United States. 35 years ago today, which would put it at 1984 in my neck of the woods, Greensboro, North Carolina, Wahoo McDaniel and Mark Youngblood defeated Jack and Jerry Briscoe to win the NWA World Tag Team Championship. 33 years ago today, which would put it at 1986, WCCW presented the second Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions from Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. 26,153 people were in attendance for that event. And here are the matches that took place at that event. Johnny Mantell and Skip Young fought to a draw. Brian Adias and Scott Casey defeated Kelly and Nick Knitsky. Terry Gordy defeated Kamala by DQ. Mike Von Erich defeated Rip Oliver. Scott Casey and the Great Kabuki defeated the Dynamic Duo, comprising of Chris Adams and Gino Hernandez. The Fantastics, Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers, defeated the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey, in a two-ring no DQ match to win the vacant WCCW American Tag Team Championship. Kerry Von Erich defeated the one-man gang in the hair versus hair match. It was Kerry's hair at stake versus Gary Hart, the one-man gang's manager. The Fabulous Freebirds, Buddy Roberts, Michael Hayes, and Terry Gordy, Kerry Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, and Mike Von Erich defeated Kamala, Rip Oliver, Steve Williams, the Dynamic Duo, and the One Man Gang 3-2 in a two-ring best-of-five falls match. Here's how those took place. Chris Adams defeated Buddy Roberts. Gino Hernandez defeated Michael Hayes. Kerry Von Erich defeated Rip Oliver. Buddy Roberts defeated Gino Hernandez, and Kevin Von Erich defeated Steve Williams. Ric Flair and Kevin Von Erich fought to a double countout for the NWA World Heavyweight title. 24 years ago today, which would put it at 1995, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling Brass Knuckles champion Atsushi Onita defeated his protege Hayabusa in a no ropes exploding barbed wire exploding cage death match. 58,250 fans were in attendance at Kawasaki Stadium in Kawasaki, Japan, the largest attendance in stadium history at the time. The bout was billed as Onita's final match. An interesting side note, Hayabusa wasn't the original opponent. Onita's original choice and Hayabusa's trainer, Tarzan Goto, refused to lose to Onita and walked out on FMW just 2 weeks before the show. In another side note, Onita did not stay retired for long. He was back in the ring a year and a half later and has occasionally wrestled ever since, retiring and unretiring multiple times, even joining a new version of FMW in 2015. The FMW founder retired on October 25th, 2017, which was his 60th birthday. As for Hayabusa, he would go on to become the face of Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. He was sadly paralyzed in October 2001 when he lost his footing on a springboard moonsault and landed on his head. With Hayabusa gone, interest in FMW quickly diminished before folding in 2002. Sadly, Hayabusa died in March 2016 of a subarachnoid hemorrhage, an uncommon form of a stroke. 18, 18 years ago today, which would put it at 2001, WWF presented Insurrection from Earl's Court in London, England. 15,794 were in attendance. Here are the matches that took place here. Eddie Guerrero defeated Grandmaster Sexay. Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko defeated Hardcore and Crash Holly. Bradshaw defeated The Big Show. Edge and Christian defeated X Factor, who was X-Pac and Just Incredible, Matt and Jeff Hardy, and Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley in a fatal four-way elimination match. Chris Benoit defeated Kurt Angle 2-0 in a best-of-3 falls match. Chris Jericho defeated William Regal by submission to win the Queen's Cup. And The Undertaker defeated the two-man power trip, Stone Cold and Triple H, in a handicap match. 17 years ago today would put it at 2002. World Wrestling Federation Entertainment Incorporated becomes World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated, just days after the Court of Appeal for England and Wales upheld an October 2001 ruling alleging that the WWF was in breach of an agreement with the World Wildlife Fund for Nature, operating at the time as the World Wildlife Fund. The two companies shared the initials since 1979, but the court ruled the World Wrestling Federation violated a 1994 agreement limiting their use of the initials. Under the ruling, all mentions of the WWF initials and their old logos would be censored. The WWF were looking to appeal the ruling to the House of Lords, the equivalent of the Supreme Court in the United Kingdom, but ultimately decided against it. In 2003, WWE won a judgment allowing them to market classic video games with the old WWF scratch logo, but must use the new WWE logo on its packaging. In 2012, the WWE and the WWF reached a settlement over the use of the initials and scratch logo, allowing them to use archived footage unedited. Any new material produced could not use the WWF initials or logo. 17 years ago today, 2002. Yes, that's correct. A number of WWE personnel got in hot water as a result of a series of incidents that happened on the flight back from London for the Insurrection pay-per-view. Michael Hayes and JBL got into a fight. Sean X-Pac Waltman cut Michael Hayes' hair. Scott Hall passed out from drinking too much. Ric Flair walked around the plane wearing a little more than a robe and exposed himself to a female flight attendant. And Dustin Runnels, also known as Goldust, got on the PA system and badly attempted to serenade his ex-wife Terry. Oh, and by the way, Kurt Hennig and Brock Lesnar got into an impromptu wrestling match on the plane and got real close to a plane door. Also on board the plane were road agents Jerry Briscoe, Dave Finley, Arn Anderson, senior writers Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman, VP of Talent Relations Jim Ross, and The Undertaker, who has always been seen as a strong figure in the locker room. Ross issued an apology on his blog, The Ross Report, a few days later. And this is what Jim Ross had to say. The flight was about 7 hours in length and at times was low-lighted by a handful of people who consumed too much alcohol and consequently acted like children whose parents were away and left the liquor cabinet unlocked. The conduct of this inebriated minority was unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Procedures have been put in place to ensure such conduct does not occur in the future. The bottom line is this: yours truly is the person in charge of the talent roster, and the buck stops with me. We will do all we humanly can do to solve the problem. The fallout from the flight was severe for several people involved. Scott Hall, who was already on thin ice due to his physical condition before the tour, was released several days later as his drunkenness was seen as the catalyst for the events of the flight. Despite briefly holding the World Tag Team titles with Booker T in late 2002, Goldust, of course his real name Dustin Runnels, was in the company's doghouse for virtually the remainder of his time there. Dustin left WWE in December 2003 after his contract expired. In a rare move by the company, it was announced on the website that Dustin's contract would not be renewed. Reynolds has been in and out of the company since, but he's been in since September of 2013. Of course, now I believe he might be on his way down to AEW. As Brock Lesnar was getting a major push at the time of the flight, Kurt Hennig was the man that took the fall for the airplane door incident and was fired by WWE. Hennig would spend the remainder of his career in upstart promotion TNA, Sadly, Henning died of an acute cocaine intoxication in February of 2003. In 2004, two flight attendants sued WWE, Ric Flair, Scott Hall, and Dustin Runnels for sexual harassment. The suit was ultimately settled out of court. The 7-hour flight would become known in wrestling lore as the plane ride from hell. Peter Polacco, also known as Just Incredible, and Sean Waldman, two men on that flight, gave their account of the events. And of course, you can read the stories currently of Pro Wrestling Stories. There's a link on this page if you want to read it. Brock Lesnar gave his account of the plane ride in an interview for ESPN's Highly Questionable in 2016. There's also a link to that there if you want to take a look at that as well. 17 years ago today, once again, 2002, Randall Anderson, or Randy Anderson as he is more commonly known, sadly died of testicular cancer in his hometown of Rome, Georgia. He was only 42 years old. Anderson, who was a state wrestling champion at 119 pounds in Georgia, began his refereeing career for Mid-South Wrestling in 1978 and was brought into NWA affiliate Jim Crockett Promotions in 1985. Randy was most famously the official for the six-man tag team match that led to the formation of the NWO in 1996. Little most people knew he refereed the match while he was getting treated for testicular cancer. He found out that he had that condition through reading a medical magazine, and it was only later confirmed by a doctor. The tumor was malignant, and his left testicle had to be removed. Randy returned to the ring 2 months after surgery, but his battle forced him to retire from wrestling in 1999. The cancer sadly would ultimately claim his life on May 5th, 2002, at age 42. At the time of his death, he was survived by his wife Christy, his daughter Montana, and his son Chase. 16 years ago today, 2003, WWE tapes the 250th edition of Sunday Night Heat from the Metro Center in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Here are the matches that took place here. In a pre-show dark match, Aaron Stevens defeated John Walters. And as for the other matches, Victoria defeated Jacqueline, Maven defeated Steven Richards, Christopher Nowinski defeated Mike Bartolucci, Chris Jericho defeated the Hurricane by submission. 10 years ago today, with 2009, Ric Flair makes his Ring of Honor debut as an ROH ambassador. Flair, who had signed on to the promotion in February, less than a year after his retirement bout at WrestleMania 24, left the promotion over the summer after walking out on an event in June, did not turn up for an event a month later. In 2010, then ROH owner Kerry Silkin sued Flair for $40,000 for payments he received for no-showing events. The lawsuit was dropped in 2011 following Sinclair Broadcasting buying Ring of Honor. 5 years ago today, 2014, on Raw from Albany, New York, Sheamus last eliminates Dean Ambrose to win a 20-man Battle Royal and the WWE United States title. Other participants in the Battle Royal were as follows: Big Show, Cody Rhodes, Curtis Axel, Damian Sandow, Dolph Ziggler, Fandango, Goldust, Heath Slater, Jack Swagger, Kofi Kingston, Mark Henry, R-Truth, Ryback, Santino Marella, Sin Cara, Titus O'Neil, Xavier Woods, and Zack Ryder. The win ends Dean Ambrose's 351-day run as champion, the longest in the WWE's era of the championship, dating back to his revival in 2003, and the third longest in the history of the title, dating back to 1979. Only Rick Rude at 378 days and Lex Luger at 523 days had a longer reign. So Ambrose was in good company, of course, with Lex Luger and the late Rick Rude. Today is a happy 80th birthday, yes, to William F. Watts Jr., or just Bill Watts, as he is best known to wrestling fans. Born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Watts, a famed wrestler in the 1960s, he had challenged for the WWF, NWA, and AWA World Heavyweight titles. Is best known for his time as a promoter. Watts is credited for popularizing the episodic format of television wrestling programs for his Mid-South wrestling in the 1970s and 80s. A staunch believer in kayfabe, Watts had his wrestlers dressed in locker rooms according to their alignments and never allowed for faces and heels to coexist in public. Mid-South Wrestling, later known as the Universal Wrestling Federation, while seen as revolutionary, was a money loser. In April 1987, Watts sold his company to Jim Crockett Promotions for $4 million. While some of UWF stars made out fine in Jim Crockett Promotions, of course, most notably Sting, Rick Steiner, and Dr. Death Steve Williams, most of the talent was buried with JCP's mid-carders quickly winning their titles. The promotion would continue operations through the end of the year before eventually folding. After initially turning down the opportunity to become WCW's head booker in April 1989, Watts would become his executive vice president in 1992, succeeding Kip Allen Frey. He brought a lot of his old school tactics to the company, of course, faces and heels dressing in separate locker rooms, banning top rope maneuvers, and removing floor mats. The moves made him unpopular with wrestlers and younger audiences. Also, not making Watts popular was the introduction of his son Eric to WCW, who many felt was not fit for a national spotlight. Watts is credited for pushing African American stars, most notably the Junkyard Dog, Big Cat Ernie Ladd, and Ron Simmons. Of course, as you know, Simmons, of course, to the WCW World Title to appeal to the African American fan base. It was ironically his comments on African Americans that would end his tenure with WCW. In a 1991 interview, Watts was advocating for business owners' right to discriminate against African Americans and gays. The interview was passed along to Hank Aaron, who was a high-ranking official within the Turner organization. Depending on who's telling the story, Watts either resigned or was fired as a result. In 1995, Watts had a brief tenure with the WWF, but left the company after just 3 months and essentially retired from the business. Post-retirement, he wrote an autobiography called The Cowboy and the Cross, The Bill Watts Story, Rebellion, Wrestling, and Redemption in 2006. He became a born-again Christian and hosted a sports radio talk show in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In 2009, Watts was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. In 2013, Watts was inducted into both the Professional and International Wrestling Halls of Fame. Watts is also an inaugural member of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame class in 1996. And of course, Bill has, of course, 5 children. Of course, William III, Joel, Eric, Micah, and Edie. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Happy 80th birthday, of course, to the Hall of Fame promoter Bill Watts here tonight. Okay, folks, there you have it with that. So let's go ahead and go right into our discussion here, of course, of what will be taking place here in the radio network here in the radio network on TalkShoe.com. First, we start with tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. Caller ID 138744#. Be sure to join King and WO Gerard T. Smith, the Iceman Jared D. Girolamo, the Human Suplex Machine John Gross, and a plethora of guests as they, of course, bring you, of course, the Monday afternoon tradition, WCWUS Raw Radio, as, of course, they'll be bringing you the latest stories coming in from, of course, under the Wrestling Wire, and also other stories of other interest as well, including sports and other and other big time newsmakers. The Human Suplex Machine John Gross will have your wrestling history and birthdays for this weekend and also for tomorrow afternoon. Also, of course, there'll be other discussions about what will be about of course different topics, of course, including of course coming up with Money in the Bank coming up here on May 19th. Also, of course, the AEW pay-per-view coming up on May 25th. There'll be a lot of talk about that. There'll be a lot of stories here. They'll definitely highlight on. They'll be talking about a lot of stuff happening, of course, like I said, in the world of sports and other topics as well. And also, ladies and gentlemen, at the end, they'll be bringing you, of course, their predictions for what the main event and the ratings will be for tomorrow night's edition of WWE Monday Night Raw. So be sure to join GTS, JD, and the rest of the gang for. And also tomorrow, something special will be taking place here as well. And I will make that official announcement, of course, tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here, of course, right on WCWUS Raw Radio, tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 5 on TalkShoe.com. Caller ID 138744#. Be sure to check that out. Coming up for Tuesday, May the 7th, ladies and gentlemen, our lineup will be as follows. At 7 o'clock, of course, 139926#. It will be WCWUS Wrestling Revisited. Be sure to join King and WO and the Iceman once again as they hop into the WCWUS time machine and visit a moment from wrestling's historical past. Of course, a match, a show, just a moment, just anything like from the last many years of professional wrestling. Of course, I'll be bringing that to you, give their take on it, and them and maybe give their own spin on it as well. So be sure to join them for WCWUS Wrestling Revisited Tuesday, May 7th, of course, at 7 p.m. on TalkShoe 139926#. Ladies and gentlemen, next up Tuesday on Tuesday, May 7th, of course, from 9 to 11 p.m. Yours truly, Mr. WCWUS, will be bringing you, of course, the mothership broadcast, WCWUS Revolution, from 9 to 11 p.m. Of course, this Tuesday, our live video feed will be from WWF US, the old school tradition, of course, on Facebook, as we will, of course, be bringing you, of course, everything from your wrestling news and views of the day, courtesy of our news tag team, King Ice. The Human Suplex Machine will be bringing you Tuesday's wrestling history and birthdays. We will also get our thoughts and opinions on tomorrow night's edition of Monday Night Raw, what we thought of all the matches, uh, any prelude to what will be happening at Money in the Bank, um, and also, of course, any other topics making the rounds as well. We will definitely tease on that there as well. Also, some wrestling extras coming your way as well. So be sure to listen in this Tuesday night from 9 to 11 p.m. for Revolution on TalkShoe.com, 138055 #. This Wednesday, May the 8th, ladies and gentlemen, will be our Triple Threat Wednesday, and we will start things off, of course, with WCWUS Outside the Ropes. Of course, our show in which we, of course, will bring you, of course, the latest pop culture news courtesy of our friends at 411mania.com. The Iceman, Jared DiGirolamo, will be bringing you your box office report, as well as, of course, the latest sports headlines coming your way. We will also get input from the Human Suplex Machine, John Gross, on everything that has been discussed, of course, on our show, plus also some of the hot seat movie trivia challenge will be coming your way here as well. So be sure to listen in on WWS Outside the Ropes this Wednesday night from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. on TalkShoe.com. Caller ID 141387 #. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, our Triple Threat Wednesday, of course, will be WCWUS Wrestling Debate, 139925 #, the caller ID. The NWO Madness Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen, will be throwing out, of course, their discussions and debates on everything going on here. Of course, everything that from what will happen tomorrow night on Raw, what will happen Tuesday night on SmackDown Live. Of course, included, of course, a discussion about who will be the next SmackDown Tag Team Champions. That will also, I'm sure, will also be discussed as well. Of course, also Money in the Bank coming up, AEW, of course, coming up as well, and the other wrestling stories making the rounds as well. Be sure to join the Pro Wrestling Debate this Wednesday night from 8 to 9 right here on, of course, on TalkShoe 139925 #. And of course, number three in our Triple Threat Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, will be the Wednesday edition of course, the mothership once again, WCWUS Revolution. Our live video feed will be from the WCWUS NXT NG video vault. As of course, we will be, of course, having your latest wrestling news and views. We will also, John will have Wednesday's history and birthdays. We will also get our thoughts and opinions in on what will take place Tuesday night on SmackDown Live, plus also some other wrestling stories making the rounds, and also, of course, some wrestling extras coming your way. So be sure to join us for Revolution this Wednesday night from 9 to 11 on TalkShoe.com. Once again, 138055 #. This Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen, will be the second installment of the radio network. Of course, the NWO Wolfpack, as our live video feed will be from NWO US Forever for Life. Of course, the latest wrestling news and views and history, of course, more history and birthdays, and also more big time wrestling talk and wrestling extras coming your way. So be sure to join us for NWO Wolfpack on TalkShoe.com, 138521 # this Thursday from 9 to 11 p.m. This Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have once again the Friday edition of Revolution, 138055 #. Our live video feed will be from ECWUS. This is Extreme. Of course, your latest, your Friday's wrestling news and views, also Friday's wrestling history and birthdays, and also some other wrestling extras and other fun stuff will be taking place as well. Plus feedback from several more of our members as well coming up here. So be sure to join us for Revolution this Friday night, 138055 #. This Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen, May the 11th, will be as follows. Of course, at 6 o'clock, I will be bringing you, of course, WCWUS Power Hour, which we'll be reviewing all of what took place this week here in the radio network. Plus, also be bringing you Saturday's wrestling history and birthdays, and some wrestling news tidbits, courtesy of our friends at 411mania.com. Be sure to listen in on WCWUS Power Hour this Saturday night from 6 to 7 right here on TalkShoe.com. 141-364-pound to caller ID there. And ladies and gentlemen, we are scheduled once again, and we know we keep pushing this match back, but we're going to hopefully have this match here this coming week as on Wrestling Championship Challenge 146-507 pound, as Mr. Hulkamania Bob Ziegler will be defending the NDUS World Heavyweight Championship against the Black Widow Michelle Lynn Dodds, plus a belt that both Mr. Hulkamania and the Black Widow currently co-hold. The WCWUS World Television title will also be at stake as well. The winner of the match will win the NDUS World title, since that was the belt that the challenge was made for. So whoever doesn't win the NDUS title will become the sole holder of the WCWUS World TV title. In other words, the undisputed WCWUS Television Champion. So be sure to join us for Wrestling Championship Challenge at 9 o'clock. Of course, we will keep you informed if there are any changes in that. It will be scheduled to go down at 9 o'clock this Saturday night, of course, May 11th, from 9 to 11 p.m. Call ID 146-507 pound. And ladies and gentlemen, for of course, to chime in on anything that we talk about on any of our shows this week, from Raw Radio tomorrow to, of course, Power Hour and Wrestling Championship Challenge this Saturday, the phone number to call in is 1-605-562-0444. Once again, that phone number 1-605-562-0444, and put in the call ID for, of course, all of our shows this week. Of course, remember WCWUS Raw Radio is 138-744 pound. WCWUS Wrestling Revisited is 139-926 pound. WCWUS Wrestling Debate is 139-925 pound. WCWUS Power Hour is 141-364 pound. Oh yes, WCWUS Outside the Ropes is call ID 141-387 pound. Wrestling Championship Challenge is 146-507 pound. Of course, WCWUS Revolution is 138-055 pound, and NWO Wolfpack is 138-521 pound. And also press that one after each of those caller IDs in order to get in on the action and talk about anything and everything going on in the world of wrestling, pop culture, and other stories indeed. So there you have it with your lineup here this week here, folks. Let's bring you, of course, we'll bring you 3 wrestling stories here coming from our friends at 411mania.com. And we do thank our friends at 411mania.com for allowing us here in the WCWUS Radio Network to read their stories on all of our shows each and every week. Of course, including Revolution, Wolfpack, Power Hour, Raw Radio, and all of our other shows. Let's see. We'll bring you, like I said, we got 3 stories here. We'll bring you here right fast before we close up shop here for the evening. Jeremy Thomas brings us the first story here tonight as a Ring of Honor story, ladies and gentlemen. Women of Honor title match set for ROH War of the Worlds in Grand Rapids, of course, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Kelly Klein will defend the Women of Honor World Championship at ROH's War of the Worlds stop in Grand Rapids this week. The company announced that Klein will defend the title against Stacy Shadows in her first defense since winning the title at G1 Supercard. You can see, of course, here's the announcement below. Here's the announcement right here. Also set for the show is as follows: Jay Lethal, Jeff Cobb, Hiroki Goto, Satoshi Kojima, and Yuji Nagata will take on Bully Ray, Shane Taylor, Silas Young, and the Briscoes. And if PCO wins the ROH World title in Toronto, PCO will defend the ROH World title versus Mark Haskins at this event in Grand Rapids. The Kingdom versus Gorillas of Destiny and Hikuleo. Forgive me if I mispronounced that name. A 4-corner survival match for ROH World Championship shot. Rush versus Tracy Williams versus PJ Black versus Eli Isom. Also, Clark Connors will take on Cheeseburger. Yes, that's the wrestler's name, folks. Cheeseburger. And the Bouncers versus Los Ingobernables de Japón, or something has to do with Japan, I believe. And also, of course, like we said, through of course the Women of Honor Twitter account right here made at 6:56 p.m. today at women underscore of women underscore honor world champion at Rio Kelly Klein defends her title at hashtag ROH WOTW hashtag ROH Grand Rapids against at Stacy Shadows. And there's a poll on this Twitter page says who do you think will come out victorious? A possible new at women underscore of underscore honored champion, or will Kelly retain? So you can actually vote to who you say who you think will come up with the Ring of Honor, the Women of Honor champion. So there you have it right there. Let's see here. Next story right here that we'll bring you here. Very interesting story here indeed. Jeremy Thomas brings us this story here as Eric Bischoff recalls Vince McMahon burying Hulk Hogan after the 1994 steroid trial, positioning WWE as an underdog to WCW. During a recent episode of his 83-week show, Eric Bischoff looked back at Vince McMahon's tactics in combating the then rising WCW. Bischoff recalled in the episode how McMahon made in his sorry about that, folks. Let me get back to this here. Let's see. For combating the then rising WCW, Bischoff recalled in the episode how McMahon made in his mind some smart moves in burying Hulk Hogan when Hogan was about to head to WCW after the steroid trial of 1994 and making himself out to be the underdog to WCW. Here are some highlights of this podcast. On Vince McMahon slamming Hulk Hogan after the trial, Bischoff says, "It is fascinating, and it was genius on Vince's part. And I don't throw that term around very often. But it's one of the things that Vince did right from the beginning. I mean, the minute he started, his first reaction to us going head to head with him or hiring Hulk Hogan. Here's what's really interesting. If you go back and look prior to Hogan coming to WCW, just prior when the steroid trial was over, when Hulk Hogan got to stand on the stand and denied that Vince McMahon sold him steroids or injected him or anything like that. When Hulk Hogan said the opposite of what the government was hoping to hear, and that trial was over, Vince McMahon came out on the steps and buried him. After Hogan just basically said everything that he said, it probably had a lot to do with Vince McMahon being found not guilty, and the first thing Vince did was go out and bury him. Why? Because he knows Hogan was coming to WCW. Now that to me is a very focused individual. It's not about personal. It's not about the truth. It's not about facts. It's what do I need to do to protect my business? I'll do whatever, say whatever, act however I need to in order to protect my family business. And I actually admired that in him. I do. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I have that. I'm not wired quite that way. I may be close in some respects, but I don't think I can go as far as Vince did then, quite honestly. But represents who I think Vince McMahon really was at the time. And he was fighting for his life. He was fighting for his, however many generations, I think his great grandfather or longer than that, started the uh, WWF back whenever. So much of what he was feeling was very true, but a lot of what he's saying or he was saying back at the time wasn't, and this is a perfect example. On positioning himself as an underdog to WCW, Bischoff says that the genius is not just misleading or lying. That doesn't take much of an imagination. The genius is when he made the decision early on to position himself as the underdog. I cannot overemphasize enough on how important that was in the last scene or the last act, right? That really is. He stuck with it. He not only galvanized his team, which is something you have to do. If people around you think the wheels are falling off, you're going to scatter like rats on a sinking ship. So you got to keep your team together. You got to say, do, act, whatever it takes to keep the team together. Because once you lose your team and you don't have the infrastructure, you're toast. And he kept his team together by playing that underdog, and he was. I'm not suggesting that he was pretending that he was the underdog at that point, He was, because it was Time Warner, it was Turner. We did own our own networks. We did have a lot of very unique advantages, but we had some very unique disadvantages as well that he didn't have. But he didn't talk about that. He talked about big bad billionaire Ted. And we don't have the resources, and we're a small little family owned business without any guilt over what he had previously done to all the other territories and all the other people he put out of business and all the other people that he literally stole from territories by offering them at least what was perceived to be much better deals. Forget about all that stuff. Yeah, he was Attila the Hun up to this point. But now that somebody else was coming along and gaming him, all of a sudden he was a poor little mistreated boy in the schoolyard, and all the boys are picking on him. And he did that to galvanize his team. He did that to galvanize his audience because he had a loyal audience base he had developed for generations, really, in the Northeast and around the country at this point. There are a lot of very loyal WWF fans. And for Vince to be able to publicly portray himself as the underdog who was getting just bullying and beat up upon by this entity called Time Warner, and this Southern guy with a big mouth called Ted Turner, and this little punk named Eric Bischoff, the more he could create that image and picture, the more loyal that fan base became. The more they were rooting for him to win, and that's what he needed at that point. Therein lies the genius in his ability to play the underdog when he really wasn't. And of course, also, folks, there's also a there's also on this story here on 411mania.com, there is um, I think the entire podcast of 83 weeks with Eric Bischoff talking about this. So definitely play that if you'd like to go back and listen to what Bischoff had to say. And it's about a little over 2 hours long. Pretty interesting there indeed. And let's see here. Uh, mm, oh, okay. Let's see here. Jeremy Thomas brings us a story right here as Liv Morgan wanted poster of herself after not being on SmackDown. Here's the story. Liv Morgan wants to know if anyone's seen her since she moved to SmackDown in the Superstar Shakeup. Morgan took to her Twitter account to share a tongue-in-cheek wanted poster of herself, which of course you can see on this page. The post lists her age, height, weight, hair color, tongue color, which is blue of course, with the last seen listed as Superstar Shakeup. Morgan has not been used on WWE TV since the shakeup and is not scheduled for the Women's Money in the Bank match at this month's pay-per-view. And there's a picture of it right there um, on her Twitter account at only live LIVV once. And of course, it was posted today at 5:53 p.m. So definitely, definitely check that out there. And we actually got a couple more here, very interesting stories here. Jeffrey Harris brings this story here as Bobby Lashley comments on Goldberg return at Saudi Arabia event, and Goldberg actually responded to that. As 411 Mania previously reported, WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg was announced for the next upcoming Saudi Arabia event. Even Randy Orton commented on it, saying there goes another 2 million at Goldberg. Earlier today, WWE superstar Bobby Lashley commented on the news. Of course, here it is right here. Lashley wrote on Twitter at 9:46 a.m. this morning. He wrote, "So I hear at Goldberg is coming back." Goldberg later responded with a tweet only showing a picture of a punched fist. So it was at 11:05 a.m. this morning. So it'd be interesting to possibly see, Lashley and Goldberg going at it here. Very, very interesting there indeed. Here is an AEW story here, folks. Jeffrey Harris here saying here, the lead singer of the group Rancid says he's backing AEW and Cody Rhodes, and he thinks that WWE has nothing to get behind anymore. The Kevin Gill Show recently interviewed Rancid band member and lead singer Lars Fredrickson, who is a longtime wrestling fan. During the interview, he talked about wrestling and said he supports Cody Rhodes and AEW. Here below are some highlights per Fightful. Fredrickson on backing Cody Rhodes and AEW. He says this: I'm backing it. We're talking about Cody Rhodes, who's a great wrestling mind. His dad was one of the best, if not the best wrestling mind in Booker. You have to be an absolute idiot not to pick up on something. I don't think any of Dusty's sons are idiots. Goldust was one of my dudes. Always will be one of my guys. My favorite thing in the world. What got me excited about wrestling times 1 million was Goldust and Stardust. That would have catapulted that company, of course, WWE, if they had just listened to their audience. Fredrickson on his thoughts about WWE. In WWE, there's nothing to get behind. There's nothing that pops like Lemmy from Motorhead once said. You want your rock stars to look like outer space aliens. I want my wrestlers to look the same way, or at least have some sort of character or personality. On what WWE lacking on WWE lacking in character development right now. Fredrickson said this. Look at Dusty Rhodes or Dick Murdoch. They weren't in the best shape, but they were performers and they could bring you in and make you believe in something. Steven Regal or William Regal now, last of a generation, really. Who else is in that company that can even pull you in like that? It's like these guys that they bring in for the big shows. You still have me at Undertaker. I don't give a. The Undertaker is the dude, right? You're still going to have me at certain dudes. I'm not saying there's like a talent. It's like a developing the talent or letting the talent take control of their character. His thoughts on Joey Ryan. Fredrickson said this. I love that guy. Part of the reason why this guy got over is because he's got the strongest dick. You heard me say it. It's wrestling. It's entertainment. There's a gimmick and there's something to get behind. So there you have it there, folks. Apparently, the lead singer of the group Rancid of course, apparently on uh, is getting behind, of course, AEW. So the lines are being drawn right now between WWE and AEW. That's one good example of it. One more story before we cut out for the evening here, folks. Jeffrey Harris brings us this last story here on Cinco de Mayo. Kelly on her feud with Beth Phoenix and why her feud with Karma never really played out. Ring the Bell, Belle, recently interviewed former WWE superstar Kelly, of course, her real name Barbie Blank. Here are some highlights per WrestlingInc.com. On the night after Hell in a Cell 2011 and going off on Beth Phoenix, Kelly says this. That was the night after I lost the championship. They told me just to go out there and let loose, wherever you feel like, whatever you, whatever you feel when you're out there, just do it. And I did. No one had seen that side of me before. It was so great for the fans to see that side because usually they see happy-go-lucky, always smiling, never mad Kelly. For them to see this moment and for me to get to do this was amazing. On the Beth Phoenix feud getting dropped, Kelly said, I think we were just going in a different direction. It had run its course. We have been wrestling against each other for the last 6 months. On her feud with Karma not playing out, Kelly said this. I actually had no idea. I just remember every week we would have this segment. She would pick girls apart, and it always left me there. And her just giving me the eye and never really did anything, just kind of messing with me. I didn't really know what the point was. Like I didn't understand. It was like a big secret. Obviously, we didn't get to do anything with it, and she had to leave. It would have been really cool to do something with her. Still curious. Sad that I didn't get to fully play that out. So definitely, so there's a video right here about it if you want to look in, of course, on this discussion here with Kelly. And it was good to see her compete again. She looked pretty darn good at the 2018 Royal Rumble, folks. And also, I believe that she was at the Evolution pay per view in October. I think I'm not sure, but I think she was. So, folks, there you have it there with our lineup here of the radio network here for this week, plus also some wrestling news tidbits and today's wrestling history and birthdays here for Cinco de Mayo. Ladies and as we said before, I hope for Cinco de Mayo it continues to go well for the next couple hours. But like we said, ladies and gentlemen, if you have to travel, be sure you got a designated driver with you. If you don't, if you had a little bit too much to drink, get a little bit tipsy, because folks, we don't want to hear about any bad accidents out there, folks. I mean, you got people that care about you out there. You really need to be you, you really need to be very cautious about that. So, enjoy yourself, have a good time, go out there and party, But just do it responsibly. That's all we ask you. That's all we ask for you folks. On that note, here we do thank you for listening in here tonight, and our video will be posted here on YouTube here momentarily, and also we'll be posting it on the page for WCWUS Revolution Radio on Facebook, which is facebook.com/groups/WCWUS Revolution Radio. Plus, also on there, speaking of that page, we have a poll question on there about which wrestling pay-per-view in May is going to make the most impact. Your choices are, of course, Money in the Bank for this year for WWE, and of course the new AEW pay-per-view Double or Nothing coming up on May 25th. So we'd love to get your thoughts and opinions here. I'd like to have your vote as well about which one you think will make the most impact, and make a comment or two over there if you wish. Also, of course, as you know, we did mention here, ladies and gentlemen, that the Hardy Boys last week on SmackDown Live did have to relinquish the SmackDown Tag Team titles due to an injury sustained by Jeff Hardy, which is going to be out. He's going to be out for quite a while. That is a shame. But the big question is, of course, it was announced that they're going to crown new SmackDown Tag Champions. The question is, who's going to get the belts? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. I mean, is it going to be there? Are they going to hold a tournament? Are they going to give them to like other teams? I don't know who else would it be. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. So, on that note, here, folks, we will thank you very much for listening here tonight. And be sure to catch us, of course, as we start the week off with WCWUS Raw Radio on TalkShoe.com tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 5. Call ID 138-744-POUND. Phone number 1-605-562-0444. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a special announcement made, of course, on Raw Radio coming up here tomorrow afternoon in the 4 o'clock hour on Raw Radio. Be sure to listen in on that from yours truly right here. This is Mr. WCWUS Chad Hinshaw here. Just invite everyone to join us on Facebook and also on TalkShoe.com. Listen to past episodes, watch past live videos of all of our shows, check out all of our tribute groups, and also check out everything we've got posted on all of our specialty groups as well. And just have a good old time in doing it. Comment on whatever you'd like to comment about as well. We'd love to hear what you have to say. This has been, like I said, this has been a live stream of WCWUS, of course, where we are 3 years older and continuing to be bolder. The radio network, of course, WCWUS continues to be and will forever remain your wrestling and pop culture connection here, folks. So take care of yourselves and each other. Enjoy the rest of your Cinco de Mayo out there, folks. And as always, in WCWUS, take care and God bless everyone. Take care of yourselves and also each other as well. And like I said, stay safe out there, and we hope to talk to you this week, of course, on all of our groups on Facebook and also the WCWUS Radio Network on TalkShoe.com. This has been a promo of WCWUS. Take care and God bless everyone. Have a terrific week and a terrific evening. Take care.